Hey all, welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video today, and what I've been doing is I've been enjoying this Ancient Gear deck. I decided to update it because I really did enjoy it when I was playing it a little while ago, and I wanted to see if I could make it just a little bit more competitive, and I really wanted to see how it would do against the True Draco and True King matchup of all those different variants, and some Zodiacs that were running around still pretty prominently. So basically I just challenged a whole bunch of people online, I hosted a couple duels and all that, and I just wanted to use this deck, kind of see what it could do. This is my updated version of the Ancient Gear deck, and at the very end of the video I will show you the profile of it once again, with the slight changes that I have made to it. So I hope you enjoy these matches, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Alright guys, so as you can see I had some success. Obviously this deck is not competitive enough. It can't get itself going fast enough, and it doesn't have the recovery that some decks need. But that Overload Fusion into Ancient Gear Chaos Giant, that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty awesome way to get it out. But the monster effects that run around this deck are a little bit too strong. So that's why I tossed in 3 Forbidden Chalices into the side deck there. So why don't we just quickly run through the deck profile, and I can kind of explain quickly some of my choices. I've already done a full deck profile on this before, but I just want to give my updated one. So first off, I have 2 Ancient Gear Reactor Dragons now instead of just the one that I had before. I kept the 3 Ancient Gear Golems, and I tossed Ancient Gear Gadgeton Dragon down to 1. Now I did all that because Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon is just a little bit too good with Ancient Gear Gadget. It's an awesome card, and I found myself not using Trade-In as much. And that's kind of the reason why I had 2 Gadgetron Dragons and 1 Reactor Dragon before, but now I kind of see that I like having 2 Reactor Dragons and just 1 Gadgetron Dragon. I kept the 3 same Wyverns, but I upped the Ancient Gear Gadget count to 3, and I upped the Ancient Gear box count to 3 as well, as they're both 500 attack, 2000 defense monsters that are machines, so machine duplication works really well with them. And honestly, I would like to even see maybe a second machine duplication in this deck, but I did keep it in the side deck just because I kind of found that it was clogging a lot, because it is a very dead card in your hand if you don't have an Ancient Gear box or an Ancient Gear Gadget being summoned onto the field. So that's why I think 1 is probably the safer choice, but I like the combo plays that reside with 2. And then of course I still got the 3 Ancient Gear Hunting Hounds. This card just makes the plays. It's awesome. I think you really need it. And you know, the 600 damage, you need every bit of damage you can, because your Ancient Gear Chaos Giant is just going to be the one that destroys so much, deals so much, and you really want to kill your opponent with that. And you want to be able to deal lethal damage with maybe Howitzer as well. If you can bring that card out just as a bonus, maybe you can first of all bring out Howitzer, and then you can Overload Fusion into Chaos Giant. And then just like before, 1 Max C, but then I upped the count of the Overload Fusions from 2 to 3. I think 3 is definitely necessary, and I think you should definitely run 3 Chaos Giants, because you want this to be an OTK deck. You want to be able to overpower your opponent as fast as you can, because you're not going to get many chances with this deck in today's meta. And then I dropped Foolish Burial of Goods down to 1. I think that this might not even be necessary in this deck anymore. I just keep it in here because sometimes I really do need to get a catapult into the graveyard so I can blow up a card on my field. So this just basically makes it so I have basically 4 catapults. And then I keep 1 Power Bond. Now this is actually an insanely awesome card, because you can get out a monster with 9,000 attack, but it's situational, very situational. I have just 1, because mostly what you want to do is you want to be able to bring out your Chaos Giant with this, but you need to have 4 Ancient Gear monsters on your hand or field when you use Power Bond. So that's kind of the challenging part, but that kind of can be achieved with machine duplication and your Ancient Gear box or Ancient Gear Gadget. So I did keep the 1 in there, but it's not something you should rely on. And then I not trade in down to 1. We have 4 targets for it, and I just keep that because it really does benefit you to get some of these monsters in your graveyard. So you can use your Overload Fusion, because you can't actually use monsters in your hand with that. And the 3 catapults, necessary for any Ancient Gear deck, I would say. Just special summons monsters, ignoring their summoning conditions, super awesome that way. And it just destroys your face-up spell and trap cards, so that's pretty awesome. That 1 machine duplication I was talking about, and then I have 1 terraforming. I did have 2 before. I found that Gear Town isn't really helping me too much to see it, so I knocked that down to 1. Limit to removal, I would run 3 of these if you could, but obviously it's at 1, so definitely run the 1. And then I upped Twin Twister to 2. Twin Twister is pretty awesome because it can destroy your opponent's back row. Not that you really need it. You kind of maybe want to stop some Solemn Strikes and some Solemn Warnings that are stopping the Hunting Hounds, because people are aware that I'm going to go for the OTK, so they kind of stop that. So I kind of Twin Twister to begin with, and Twin Twister also is a pretty good way of destroying your own spell and trap cards to kind of get that going. Then just like before, I have 3 Ancient Gear Fortresses and 3 Gear Towns, just for the Ancient Gear plays. If you guys don't know what they do, Ancient Gear Fortress basically just allows you to protect your monsters from effects the turn they are summoned, and when this card's destroyed, you can special summon Ancient Gear monster. But you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for Ancient Gear monsters, so you can't go with any of these plays like that. And then Gear Town just makes you so you don't have to use full tributes. You can use one less to bring out your Ancient Gear monsters. And when this card's destroyed, special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Wyvern's a pretty good combo piece for this because it allows you to search for your Hunting Hound if you so choose. So you get 2 monsters instead of just 1. Then lastly, I just have a Skill Drain. Skill Drain is awesome because it doesn't affect your monsters, your powerful Howitzer, or your Ancient Gear Chaos, and then it allows you to shut down your opponent's monster effects. Now this card is kind of now because the True Dracos tribute summon over top of their trap cards. They're unaffected by trap cards, so Skill Drain doesn't affect them. So that's why it's not as good as it once was, but I still like to run it. And then obviously Norden got banned, so I took out Norden, added another Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. And I have 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. I did have 2 before. I think 1 is all you're going to need for sure. And then I'll just scroll through some of the XZs that I kept. I didn't go into any of these. At the very most, I would go into Utopia, the Lightning, using the Utopia engine. Or maybe Gigant X, just for the search. And then for the side deck, I really didn't side too much. This deck isn't really that competitive. The only thing I'd recommend maybe doing is adding in those Forbidden Chalices, as they are really good to stop some monsters from doing some stuff that your monsters don't really protect themselves against monsters. They mostly just protect them against spell and trap cards, so that's why Forbidden Chalice can kind of help add some more protection to this deck. I also had a Cybernetic Fusion support, so maybe you could use Power Bond to bring out some cards a little bit easier, and Future Fusion also just fuel your graveyard with some monsters. I also have the Ancient Gear Reborn. Didn't really use it. I don't think it's too great, but it's in there. Gets destroyed a little bit too quickly, I think, in my opinion. And then I just have the Solemn Engine in this deck as well. I had a really good time using this deck, even though it was a little bit frustrating that I got absolutely destroyed a lot. But I did do some absolute destroying, so it's a give and take. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all, leave them down below and I can try and speak with you and resolve any of the issues. Any of the questions, let me know. I can probably give you an answer, or at least I'll do some research and find an answer for you. I hope you come back for the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one at least, and as always, peace.